Hello, and welcome to Planetside 2. In the last video, we covered how to improve the performance of your game through the adjustment of your graphics settings, and also how to streamline your gameplay through the optimization of your sensitivity settings and infantry key bindings. But at some point during your gameplay, you may have noticed that you were awarded an item called a Novice Implant Pack. Great, but what is it, and how did I trigger getting it? This is where implants and directives come into play. In this episode, we're going to cover the basics of the directive tree and how to get your first handful of implants quickly to help you further slingshot your progress through the early game. I'll also cover what I think are the best implants for a new player to equip on each class. First, what's a directive? A directive is this game's version of an achievement. Completing a directive by performing the tasks it requires will provide you with some kind of reward. In order to see which directives require which tasks, you need to navigate to your directive tree. To do this, simply open your in-game menu by pressing Escape, and press the Directive tab at the bottom of your screen. Here, you'll see a summary screen of which directives you've recently completed and which directive tasks you are close to completing. But what if you're looking for a specific directive? You can look at a specific directive by selecting the relevant tab on the left-hand side of your screen, and then selecting the relevant directive in the list. This will allow you to see which tasks you need to complete to progress in that directive, and also what the reward is for completing that rank of the directive. Each directive will require one or more tasks to complete, and you can see how many tasks are required by the number of empty dashes here. When you complete one of the tasks, one of these dashes will fill, like this. When you complete the minimum number of required tasks, you will progress to the next rank in that directive. The next rank will not only require more tasks to be completed, as you can see here by 3 empty dashes as opposed to 2, but the tasks themselves will also become more difficult as you progress further in each directive. But why am I introducing new players to an achievement system? Surely this is endgame stuff. For the most part, yes, but there are a select few early game directives that can really help a new player. The directives that I'm talking about are the first rank of all of the basic class directives. That is, the Combat Medic, the Engineer, the Heavy Assault, the Infiltrator, and the Light Assault directives. When you select these, you can see that the reward for completing the Bronze rank is a Novice Implant Pack. And I recommend you complete all of these as a new player, as they grant you a couple of basic implants each. If you're trying to progress through a directive and don't want to constantly go through these menus to see how far you've progressed, you can simply left-click on the task you wish to track progress on, and this star in the top right-hand corner will indicate that it's being tracked. You can select multiple tasks to track using this method, and when you close this menu, you will be able to see the tracked directives on the left-hand side of your screen. To remove them from your tracked tasks, simply left-click on the tasks that you wish to remove. Okay, so let's talk about how to easily complete each one of these directives. The first directive I always complete first is for the Light Assault. Simply by getting 15 kills with your carbine will complete this directive and get you your first implant pack. Next, I complete the Infiltrator directive. Again, simply getting 15 kills with your sniper rifle will complete this directive and get you your second implant pack. Next, I complete the Medic directive. I recommend trying to go for the Revive ribbon and also getting 15 kills. You'd think healing would be as easy as reviving, but with how prevalent medkit spam is in the current meta, it's actually quite difficult to get the healing ribbon. Next, I complete the Engineer directive. You can choose to either get the Repair ribbon by repairing things, the Resupply ribbon by throwing out ammo boxes, or by getting 15 kills. These are all equally easy to complete and will get you your third Novice Implant Pack. Lastly, I complete the Heavy Assault Directive. You can use your aircraft lock-on launcher to do damage to aircraft in large chunks. Every time you land a lock-on rocket on an aircraft, this counter should increase by 1. Then simply get 15 kills. Okay, so now that you're familiar with the directive system and how to use it, and you've acquired some starter implants from your novice implant packs, let's have a look at what implants are and how to use them. Implants are like perks in other games. They give your character little bonuses when you equip them. You may have noticed that in your character loadout screen, there are 2 empty boxes at the bottom of your loadout list. This is where you can choose 2 implants to equip on that loadout. You can use whichever implants you have available, but you can't equip the same implant twice on the same loadout. They don't consume any resources of any kind, so there's really no reason to not have at least something equipped in each of your loadouts. You can buy more implant packs using certs, but I wouldn't recommend it, especially to a new player. What you get from an implant pack is totally random, and the bonuses they provide are minor. In short, you don't need it.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I 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 need it!
I'm sure some of the vets will understand, but seriously, as a new player, you really don't need implants. When I create new characters, I don't buy implant packs for a long time. With that said, getting a few starter implants by completing some easy class directives is well worth it. So, now that you have a handful of implants, what are my recommendations for new players for each class? I'll be assuming you only have the most common implants available to you, so if you have something available to you that you think is more useful to you, then go right ahead and use whatever you think is best. Let's start with the Infiltrator. Your long-range sniper loadout centers around supporting your team at range and sniping. So I recommend using the Target Focus and Ammo Printer implants. Target Focus will allow you to stabilize your scope by holding your breath for longer, and Ammo Printer will allow you to stay out in the field for longer without needing to resupply. Your Spec Ops Hacker loadout centers around infiltrating enemy bases, so I would recommend using the Regeneration and Ammo Printer implants. These implants synergize well with your ability to stay cloaked indefinitely by providing you with health and ammo indefinitely as well. If you didn't get the Regeneration implant, consider using the Vampire implant instead. The Vampire implant allows you to siphon life on a knife kill. Next, let's look at the Light Assault. The Rooftop Skirmisher loadout centers around staying on rooftops and away from friendly support infantry, so I would recommend using the Ammo Printer and Regeneration implants for the same reason as your Infiltrator Spec Ops Hacker loadout. You can also replace one of these with Safe Fall if you're finding controlled descent with your jetpack too difficult. The Ambusher loadout centers around throwing yourself into the fray, so I would recommend Safe Fall and Target Focus. Safe Fall will help prevent you from taking fall damage after launching yourself into enemies with your jetpack, and Target Focus will help you gauge how many C4 you need to kill a vehicle or a max. Next, let's look at the Medic. Medics center around healing and reviving friendlies and generally being sustainable, so I would recommend using Sweeper HUD and Ammo Printer. Sweeper HUD will prevent you from accidentally stepping on enemy explosives, and Ammo Printer will make sure your sustainability isn't rewarded with an empty magazine. Next, let's look at the Engineer. The Engineer centers around supporting allies through repairing and resupplying, so I would recommend Regeneration and the Sweeper HUD implants. Regeneration for the increased sustainability, and Sweeper HUD will let you see enemy C4 or anti-tank mines that you can disarm with your repair tool. Next, let's look at the Heavy Assault. The Frontline Fighter loadout centers around frontline fighting, so I would recommend Safeguard and Sweeper HUD. Safeguard will help you stay alive long enough to get into cover when you get revived, and Sweeper HUD will help prevent you from breaching a room only to be met with an explosives trap. Okay, hopefully this episode has helped you understand the directive system and also gave you some things to think about in terms of which implants to equip on each of your loadouts. But what's this basic training directive? And what do I do if I get stuck on one of these directives? To find out, you'll have to watch the next episode, where I'll start walking you through step by step how to finish the basic training directive easily and unlock your first cosmetic items in the game.